Running the economy under Donald Trump is analogous to giving a young child the nuclear codes. However, the toddler may have better instincts. Is Bill Maher involved as well? Oh, he's not holding back. In this wild tirade, Maher exposes how the economy sank the moment he took the wheel, tearing into Trump's so-called business genius. Maher has receipts for outrageous policy flip-flops and billionaire bootlicking. And believe me, they are merciless. Did Trump truly believe that the warm-up for tanking America was bankrupting casinos? Stay tuned, because under Trump's leadership, Maher's jokes have a greater impact than inflation. Not sure what he'll say next.
One thing we've known about Trump for quite a while is that in the world, the countries that we traditionally liked, like England and France, those kind of places, he doesn't really like. And the people that we traditionally didn't like Saudi Arabia and Russia, he likes. For example, there's I'm sticking with the Union, the former Soviet Union. Unlike some people, he always says thank you. Europe, your ancestors left for a reason.
Pretending to understand the state of the economy is something Donald Trump enjoys more than branding cheap steaks, dubious universities, and gold-plated toilet seats. According to Bill Maher, the only numbers Trump excels at handling are those on his golf scorecard, and those seem a little dubious. Things haven't just gone downhill since Trump touched the economy with his small ketchup-stained fingers. Their plunge off a financial cliff was faster than that of one of his bankrupt casinos. Let's talk about the changes in the Republicans.
Let's talk about how the Republicans have changed.
Oh.
You said in your special, Trump got the White House again, but he's not going to get your mind.
Yeah.
How's that resolution holding up?
Not that well. I gotta say it lasted. Yeah. I also said I wouldn't pre-hate anything, which is true. I didn't pre-hate, but boy, does the hate come around quickly. I mean, has it been only a month? Yeah.
It's been 1 month.
1 month.
1 month.
I mean, I made a list.
This explains why the resolution has been poor. Please subscribe if you enjoy it. Maher wasted no time revealing Trump's economic leadership, the Financial Circus Act. You know, that magical period when tax cuts for billionaires were supposed to benefit the middle class, but all it did was give Jeff Bezos more yacht money while the average American debated which kidney to sell to afford petrol. Since, as honest as it is, you may not believe him when a man who has run several companies into the ground promises to make the economy great. It's like relying on a raccoon to protect your lunch.
Trump says, I like reading as little as possible. I don't need, 200-page reports on something that can be handled on a page. He's actually proud that he makes decisions without learning anything, which makes him the perfect president for a nation perpetually looking at its phone.
Of course, Trump swore repeatedly that the economy was booming under his leadership. Indeed, it was flourishing for corporate CEOs, hedge fund managers, and anyone else selling MAGA merchandise outside of his rallies. Everyone else's rent increased faster than Trump's legal fees, their healthcare costs skyrocketed, and their pay remained stagnant. Still, he insisted that everything was perfect, amazing. The greatest economy of all time, right before Trump wolfs down a cheeseburger with his bare hands like a raccoon in a trash can, just as he claims to be the fittest president ever.
Watch out for Canada, the quiet, polite neighbor you never suspect. I want you to cut dictators some slack.
Maher ripped into Trump's economic policies, emphasizing how the self-proclaimed business genius ran his casinos into the ground, with a big fat bankruptcy right in front of you. Running a casino resulted in financial losses. One discovers a casino. That would be akin to failing a breathalyzer test in an oxygen bar. Turning a business model designed for money printing into a financial disaster necessitates a special kind of talent. He then applied that same level of genius to the state of the American economy. The result was rising living costs, a national debt explosion, and enough economic uncertainty to make a stockbroker cry. Let's talk about those well-known tax cuts. Oh, Trump promised to transform the middle class. They were not spoilers. According to Trump, the middle class includes anyone who owns at least one private jet, while the average American received just enough relief to buy a second helping of ramen noodles. The ultra-wealthy received tax breaks as if they were loyalty points at a failing casino. However, Trump assured you that the money would eventually trickle down, right? And Trump University was going to offer actual instruction to its customers.
what he's trying to tell us by continuing to do this dance. And now, making YMCA his anthem.
Instead of raising wages, companies used their tax refunds to buy stocks. Regular people saw their tax refunds shrink like a cheap t-shirt in the washer. However, Trump ensured that billionaires could continue to dodge taxes by creating loopholes large enough to propel a gold-plated limo across. Furthermore, the cuts were not permanent for middle-class people. They will pay more by 2027, while the ultra-wealthy continue to profit. Traditional Trump: cash in on reality, sell the fantasy, and let someone else clean up the mess. Bill Maher had an absolute field day highlighting Trump's obsession with the stock market. If the Dow Jones was rising, Trump believed the economy was perfect. Here's the problem though. The stock market is not synonymous with the economy. It's as if your Instagram likes determine your medical status. Rich people making more money didn't mean that working people were doing better. Actually, wages were stagnant, healthcare was a disaster, and housing was so expensive that even monopoly players were in debt. But Trump kept his gaze fixed on the stock market as if it were a magical scoreboard. There were crickets as it fell, not a phrase, just a bunch of tweets claiming it wasn't his fault. Since Trump is only consistent in blaming others for his mistakes.
Yes, it turns out that the stock market has really kind of rejected the notion that if we turn on our trading partners, chickens would lay more eggs. Yeah, I mean, when Biden was president, it was everything about the eggs, the price of eggs. We got to lower the price of eggs. And now Trump retweeted somebody last week who said, shut up about the eggs.
The trade war follows as well. Oh, lad, there's nothing like watching Trump negotiate international trade agreements like a man haggling over bootleg DVDs in a parking lot. Maher had no trouble reminding everyone that without understanding how tariffs work. Trump's grand plan to fix trade entails taxing everything that moves. Because this is the truth. When you tax imports, American businesses and consumers bear the brunt of the costs. It's like starting a fire in your own home and calling it a creative heating method. Trump, however, presented it as a victory, and his followers clapped. Farmers were losing their jobs, businesses were failing, and anyone who tried to teach Trump basic economics got that signature vacant stare, like a goldfish trying to do calculus. Of course, a Trump economic debate would include a reference to his preferred subject himself. Trump claimed that no one had ever managed the economy more effectively. Not Obama, FDR, or Alexander Hamilton, who essentially created America's financial framework. Only Trump. The man was unable to make a profit selling vodka to Americans. The man who caused an airline to go bankrupt. The man who lost money while running a casino. Once again, a company where the house should win. Still, he was the century's financial whiz kid.
And Americans are like, but we need eggs. What else are we going to throw at the Teslas? But you know what? $5 trillion in 3 weeks, and we have only ourselves to blame. Trump said this would happen if we re-elected Biden. Oh, wait, that didn't happen. No, this is happening because Trump wants to bring back manufacturing, and to get the ball rolling, he is manufacturing a recession.
Maher also didn't hold back on Trump's personal business successes, which were as consistent as his spelling in a late-night tweet. Not long ago, Trump airline known. That's because it lasted less than one of his press secretary's terms. How about Trump steaks? Money can purchase the finest cuts of meat. Should you wish to consume shoe leather? Not to mention Trump University, where the only graduates received a lesson in spotting fraud and a smaller wallet. Despite this, Trump maintains that he is a self-made billionaire. Not even the millions he inherited from his father, the numerous bailouts, or the fact that his main skill appears to be losing money while convincing others that he is winning. He talks about business as if he were discussing his weight, completely disconnected from reality. And Maher, he is already tired of it, because reality always prevails. No matter how many times Trump boasts about his economic miracle, all that existed was smoke, mirrors, and a large amount of unpaid debt.
What is he trying to tell us? And I'm not saying Donald Trump is secretly gay. It doesn't look like much of a secret. No, I'm kidding. I don't think he is gay. Quite the contrary. I think the message to his manosphere is that he's so masculine that he can literally jerk off 2 guys at once while dancing to the village people. and still be considered a masculine icon. I mean,
really means. What can we learn from the aftermath of Trump's presidency? A shattered economy, an exploding national debt, and enough financial crises to keep late-night comedians employed for the next decade. Running on his promise to make America rich again, the alleged business genius left office with record deficits, a decimated middle class, and a tax cut that benefited the ultra-wealthy while leaving the rest of the country struggling to keep up with inflation. Bill Maher described it best. While he moved on to the next con, Trump treated the American economy as if it were his personal toy, to be broken and discarded. His presidency was almost exactly like one of his many failed commercial ventures. Make grand, ostentatious promises, ignore all warning signs, then blame someone else and leave when everything goes wrong. Except this time, the victims were ordinary Americans, not bankrupt casinos and bogus colleges.
he plays Let's Spin the Big Tariff Wheel. Woo! Round and around she goes. Where she stops, nobody knows. And every day, Trump puts these amazingly large tariffs on other countries, and when the countries respond with their tariffs, he acts shocked at their disrespect. How dare you do to me what I just did to you?
And the best part is that he still believes he is the man to mend whatever he has broken. That is analogous to an arsonist requesting to be the chief of firefighters. Despite the fact that he ran the economy into the ground the last time he was in charge, he is still peddling the same tired rhetoric, claiming that only he can restore prosperity. It's the best grift available. Break it, sell the illusion that only you can fix it, and then when it undoubtedly falls again, simply rewrite history and convince your supporters that it was someone else's responsibility. His cult-like following consumes it, convinced that the man who gave billionaires large tax breaks while their wages stagnated is somehow their savior. It's a masterclass in political gaslighting. The economy is in disarray. What will Trump do to fix it? More of the same irresponsible policies that caused this mess? But with an infinite supply of slogans and scapegoats, who needs facts?
Mind? Yeah. Yeah, I'm getting Donald Trump for my birthday. Oh, I keep saying, God, why? And then I go, oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. The last 25 years I've been making fun of you on TV.
This is God's way.
Okay, that's that little religious. You hated that, too. I remember. Okay, all right.
Here we are, watching Donald Trump parade as some sort of economic messiah, taking credit for everything good that has ever happened while blatantly ignoring the financial disasters caused directly by his actions. As if the first time wasn't marred by record deficits, corporate tax giveaways, and a trade war that did more harm than good. He's out there rallying his base, promising another golden age of prosperity. Furthermore, let us not forget that his careless policies create the conditions for disaster, despite his claims of an apparently thriving economy. Now enter Bill Maher, armed only with facts, sharp wit, and an extreme dislike for stupidity. Maher has made a career out of exposing hypocrisy, and Trump's economic fairy tales are like a never-ending comedy special created specifically for him. Maher isn't afraid to point out the obvious flaws in the bluster and gaslighting. Trump's economic legacy is more smoke and mirrors than strength. He reminds us of the ballooning national debt, tax cuts that primarily benefit the wealthy, and terrible trade policies that harm more American businesses and farmers than they help him. Obviously, Trump's approach has never been fact-based. It had a more spectacle-like quality. He is a master at transforming setbacks into triumphs and rewriting history while his supporters nod. Everything is included in the program, and Maher is in the front row, popcorn in hand, yelling out every ridiculous assertion, false promise, and outright lie, since providing comedians with limitless material is the one thing Trump excels at. And if there's one thing Maher does well, it's reminding the world how ridiculous the entire Trump economic experiment was. He reflects the craziness through sharp monologues and merciless punchlines, reminding us that the so-called best economy ever was built on the precarious foundation of debt, deregulation, and dishonesty. Given history's odd tendency to repeat itself, particularly when people fall for the same con twice. And Maher is here to remind us that Trump's version of economic brilliance was both ridiculous and dangerous.